Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, manifesting success stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Ree, Leslie, Nicole, Tierra, Luisa, and Chona, who make up the Living Your Dream 2026A group. Yes, who, if you listened last week, is almost manifested $1 million. I mean, honestly, probably while we're on this call, they're even crossing the $1 million mark. Somebody's going to get off and there's going to be more money because they're that amazing. And you've been listening to them and you know that. We are recording this October 25th, 2021. And so Chona has been here the longest, little less than a year. So we have a little less than a year to just over 3 months on this call, and they're going to jump into growth. So Ree, actually, I'm going to start with you. What is the best manifestation that you've had since our last interview?
The best manifestation that I've had was something that came up unexpectedly. I was looking at an antique treadle sewing machine. I happened to see one on Marketplace, and it was very inexpensive, but when I went to go make the purchase, the seller told me no, it was a typo. So I let it go. I was like, that didn't feel good. The mount didn't feel good to me. I let it go. And the very next day, my friend texted me a picture of a treadle Singer sewing machine and said, "Hey, do you want this?" So there again, too, the most unusual things that I manifest, and it's just so much fun. It really is fun. I mean, aside from, I did manifest some money that came my way, an $8,000 check that I forgot I was getting for a billboard sign rental, and some other money came my way. So, of course, those were great. But when you think of something that's so unusual and then it just pops up, it's just like, how? How did that happen?
Yes. Yay. That's awesome. Leslie, how about you? What's your best manifestation since our interviews a couple months ago?
I've been something that's been manifesting actually for a few years. And it started with being in touch with someone who I was just in contact with her professionally. And then a year ago, when my life circumstances changed a lot, she popped up again in a Facebook group, and I was like, "Well, hey, I knew her from before over there, and now we have this context. We have this shared context of like another shared context of how we know each other." And so she's been like really giving me lots of resources and supporting me with all of that. And when we met, we actually got together in person. When we met each other in person, we were like, "Oh, this was, like divine. This was like a divine encounter. Like we were meant to know each other." And then, so this summer, she gave one of the resources that she gave me. She just kind of handed over a link, and I followed it, and it kind of led me on a little breadcrumb trail to where I'm at now, with some actions that I'm taking that will hopefully lead to being reunited with my kid, who I haven't seen in a year. And I think it's just given me like a really stable foundation for all of my legal work going forward. And so I know my kid's gonna come back to me. I know what's happening.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's a great manifestation. Nicole, how about you? What's your best manifestation in the past couple months?
Well, I just got another one. Well, I think I wrote down that I kind of broke even on my taxes, and then I randomly got the universe said, "No, we want to give you money." So I got a tax refund of $144, and I forgot the exact change. I think it was 13 cents. And then just now, so our manifested total just went up. Somebody just ordered a necklace from me, so I added another $150 to our total.
Yay! That's awesome. I love it.
Yep.
Tierra,
so
how
I just happened to see it went ding, and I was like, "Oh, I have an order."
Of course you do.
That's a good manifestation. Yeah.
That is.
Yeah.
Yay. Tierra.
Cassie called it. She said it was going to happen. So for me, and again, this is like just tuning into that evidence. I am it's happening. I was driving, I want to say Tuesday last week, and I was like, I really would love someone to do some PR for my business. I feel like that's the natural next step for me. And literally one of my friends who has her entire career in PR reached out of the blue, and she was like, it was just put on my heart to like help you and do some PR and get some speaking and some TV and whatnot for you. And I'm just like, what? Like, are you kidding me? And so that was amazing. And then also filming 2 TV segments on major networks.
Yay.
And I was asked to go to drinks with one of my mentors who's a 9-figure mompreneur. So out of the blue, her assistant reached out and was like, hey, I want to go to drinks and let's see, like, let's all get together. And I'm like, what? Like, just craziness.
Yay.
Magical.
It is magical. That's awesome. Luisa, what's been your best manifestation in the past couple months?
I have a few of them. I thought I was finished with manifesting Maui, but the universe has different plans for me, which is awesome. A client of mine offered me her timeshare in Maui, which is $1,000 a day for 7 days. So that's $7,000. A friend of ours stopped in at Thanksgiving. He's a real estate agent. And he said, he just walked through our house and he said, you know what? The market's really hot right now. You could get $800,000 for your house if you were to put it on the market today.
Yay. That's awesome.
And then a girlfriend of mine who's a nurse, I was taking these supplements, which cost me about $300 a month. She gave me 7 months worth of these free supplements, which totals $2,100.
Yay. That's amazing. Fabulous. Chona, how about you? What's your best manifestation over these past couple months?
Yeah, so my best manifestation happened a couple of weeks ago. It was a Sunday, and I woke up early and sat in bed for a few hours and had plans to go out to brunch with some friends of mine. And after brunch, we decided to go to Trader Joe's and did some grocery shopping. And then I was like, oh, I'll just do a couple hours of work from bed and watch some reality TV and make like $400. And it hit me that I had scripted this exact day that I had been like talking about in my scripts, this just sort of, go at my own pace, do whatever I want, make money, having fun and kind of, really effortlessly. And I remember I was driving on my way to brunch and I was like, oh my God, I manifested this day. Like I scripted this day, and it was really awesome.
Yay. That is awesome. I love it. Ree, what's some coaching that I have given someone that has really clicked and made a shift recently?
Just trying to not figure out the how to fix things, but just to trust. And that's been really a big one for me because I'm always trying to find the solution. So I see you give that advice often, and I've whenever I feel that I'm trying to fix it or create a solution, I'm kind of like, I hear your voice in the background going, just trust, just let it go, just trust. So that's been a big one for me.
Yay. That's amazing. I love that. Leslie, will you share with us how much happier and the way that you're approaching your work is happening now?
Yeah. I usually start the school year, after being off for the summer, kind of dreading going back to school and teaching. And this year I was on point. I was like ready to go. I felt I was excited about my classes, and I just felt like I was showing up in a whole new way, completely whole new way. And some of my colleagues have actually been seeking me out for support because I think I'm showing up happier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I'm also, I'm seeing myself giving my students a bit more space in general. Like I changed everything about how I evaluate them. I kind of put a lot more stuff into their hands, even deadlines. I was, like even deadlines. I was like, yeah, don't worry, just hand it in whenever. Or come to class,
right?
Yeah, and also when I give them feedback on their work, I noticed myself saying things like, I look forward to seeing how you sort this out.
That's amazing.
Instead of telling them, I think you should do this. Yeah. So I feel really excited about this because I think I've felt this for years, but have never quite, maybe I just wasn't being the person who could do it. And now I am. It's been huge.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do they come to class happier? Like, have you noticed that in like compared to other classes? Have you noticed that yet? It might be too early.
It's hard just because we've been on Zoom and they don't turn on their videos.
Gotcha.
I've started meeting them on campus and some of them, and it's been really fun. I mean, I'm just making it a lot of fun when we're on campus because I'm just so excited to see them in person and to be able to say something to them and have them all go like this while I'm talking.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
It's just been really fun to be in class more so than before.
Yay. Awesome. Very cool. Nicole, I know that you love when I turn the question around so that, somebody can find their own answer. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happens on at least once on every call. Somebody will ask a question and you will just turn the question back to them because you know that they know what the answer already is, but they just need your permission to get the answer that they want, but they already know what it is. So I love if somebody might say, my question is, how do I manifest more money? And you'll go, why do you want to manifest more money? And then they have to think about it for a second. It's like, okay, well, because I want this. Okay, well, then there's your answer. Or I don't want this. Well, why don't you want that? It's that therapist-patient thing of turning the question back to you to make you just pause for a second and think, you already know the answer. Deep down, you know what you should do. Like I said, whether it's feel the feelings or walk away and let it be for a while and then come back to it with fresh eyes or a fresh feeling. We already know this, but it just takes you to turn the question around on us for us to go, okay, I do know this. I do know this. I didn't even need to ask this question, but because I deep down, I knew what I should be doing. And I knew I know what the process is, but we let ourselves slip out of it. And that's why we come to our guru to put us back in. Yeah. Because you're the guru. You put us right back in. And whether you've asked the question or you're just listening to the question, and it could be a question you didn't know that you had, but you're listening to somebody else ask it. And then you turn that question around on them. You're like, okay. Because as they go deeper, as the two of you, or you and I, if we go deeper into it, more and more stuff comes up. And then the real question always comes out because it's always that kind of like pussyfoot around the question.
Yeah.
Because I don't really, I want to tell the story, but you don't let us tell the story. You're like, nope, I'm just going to turn the question back around on you so that you actually answer the question.
Yes.
Or ask the question that you really want to ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be coached on. Yeah. So I really appreciate that. People always say, you know, don't answer a question with a question, but I like that you do that, because that's where the coaching is. It's just that little flip of a switch of just turning it back around and making us think about what we just asked.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. Cool. Tierra, tell us about if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no.
That is my mantra. Everyone close to me. I had my son's dad, he called this morning. He was working through something on his own. And he's like, so what's that thing you say? If it's not a hell yes, it's definitely a no. I said, no, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And he's like, yeah, I like that. So, you know, that everybody who knows me knows that is my mantra in every aspect of my life. And that has been one of the most powerful things that I've heard you coach others through. And even with myself is like, following that and having permission, or giving myself permission to be okay in that, of if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no, without explanation.
Yeah.
Like without explanation, it just is what it is. And even how you on the call earlier, you said I'm responsible for me and my financial well-being. So it goes right along with that. If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And that's just it. And that's just all. And I love it.
Yay. That's awesome. Luisa, talk to us about learning how to focus on your feelings and not figuring out why.
Yeah, that's something that you've really coached all of us on. And that's really helped me through this, feeling my feelings. Because I never thought I was a feeling person, but clearly I do. I have them. But I used to, when I was sad, I was trying to figure out what's upsetting you today, or if I was disappointed, why? Like, what happened that you're feeling disappointed? Why am I so angry this morning when I got up? And I was always trying to figure out why are these feelings here? So it's really helped me with your coaching as far as not trying to figure why, just go through those emotions, let them ride out, and 100% at the end, there's always the answer, and the clarity is always there. If we don't block those.
Yes.
And we don't question them, and we don't ask them why, just go through them. And the answers and the clarity is there 100% all the time.
Yes. Yay. Oh, it is. Chona, I know one of the biggest ways that you've grown and changed is that you've kept showing up, and that you keep showing up. And for me, this is one of the things that I always go out there and I say, like, you have to show up if you want the change. And so you tell us about showing up and how that's impacting and how you're growing through that.
I had to take that deep breath. Yeah, I mean, it goes with the feeling the feelings, right? Like, I think in the past, you know, by now almost a year in the past, I probably would have been like, okay, next thing, this isn't working. Like, why am I not a billionaire already with a great relationship and like 12 mansions? But because of that coaching, and peeling the layers and digging through the layers of the old story and the old habits, and just showing up, like you said, and doing the work, and not the no judgment. I mean, I'm writing down everything that everybody's saying, because there's just so many good nuggets there. It's like, letting go of the judgment, giving myself space, knowing that, yeah, like showing up, continuing to do the work, even when it feels uncomfortable and when it feels great too. It's all for me, right? Like it's getting through the hard stuff, not jumping over it, right? Because there's the chance, and maybe over the last couple of years since before I joined the Enchanted Circle, that I would just keep manifesting the same things over and over and not understanding why. And again, like trying to fix it. Maybe put a Band-Aid over it, not really like get to the root cause of that. So it's just, you just have to keep showing up and know that there's no right time. There's no right way to do it. It's just doing it. And so, I love that we talked about, earning where we are now, because I know that there were maybe a couple weeks there where I was frozen in fear of doing my assignments wrong. And then I don't know what the click was, but it was like, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Just show up and trust your coaching. So that's been a good lesson the last 10 months, 11 months, almost a year.
Yay. Yeah. That's awesome. And I remember that frozen. I think it was because you wanted to feel like you had to feel a certain way to do your assignments, right? Like, I have to feel my future self in order to do the assignments, instead of doing the assignments to feel your future self.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean, that's currently, that's something that I asked about earlier today, again, because it is, and that's a perfect example of continuing to show up and doing the work, is because, I mean, that, like we said, it's decades of thinking a certain way. And so we're relearning. I think in my last interview, I said I was like a fawn learning to walk again. I was a little wobbly. Maybe I fall over, but I keep getting up. Right. And showing myself grace, right? Like, if someone's learning to walk, if they fall, you're not like, get up, and like, you're not berating them, right? You're like, okay, let's just try again. And so really like being nice to myself in that way too, to be like, just keep getting up, keep trying. You're going to get there.
Yes. Oh yes. That's awesome. I love it. Very cool. Anyone have other thoughts they want to make sure on their heart or their mind to share as we wrap up this interview? Luisa.
I had a friend of mine on the weekend, out of the blue, ask me, we're having coffee, and she said to me, Luisa, your life is 80% perfect. 80% perfect.
Yes.
Why do you want that last 20%? Why? Why do you bother? Why? What are you trying to achieve that last 20%? And this was my future self that just came right out of my mouth instantly, with like no question. I didn't have to pause. I didn't have to wait. And I looked at her and I said, because I can.
Yes.
And she had no words for me.
That's amazing. How did that feel?
I was in shock at first, because it's just, it feels amazing how she's more and more closer to me. I'm seeing her more. I'm letting her take that lead. That is nothing I would have come up with before. I would have hummed and hawed, try to explain it, try to justify it, maybe even fall for her negative comment. Because that was kind of, I would have looked at it as a negative way, like, maybe she's right. And, what more do I need? And none of that happened. None of those beliefs came into my mind. The only thing that came out of my mouth was, because I can.
Yay. That's awesome. Yeah. I love it. Nicole?
I cannot get over every time we have these interviews, that because Leslie and I started around the same time, just your growth is so inspiring to me, because you were so resistant at the beginning of thinking that this could possibly work, and now you're giving advice to other people about, just let go, just it'll happen when it happens. And to see that is just so lovely. Just watching your arc has been such a joy. So I'm happy that you have found yourself through this process.
Yay. Chona.
Yeah, I wanted to share my response to the question about how do I know it's happening?
Yeah,
because this is something that has just recently transpired. But like, and I even said, I was like, this might sound backward, but how I know that it's happening is because I have this feeling that everything's sort of falling apart or falling to pieces. And more specifically was like, I felt like I had lost control of myself in a situation. And I see it now as the fact that I think my body, my future self, everything, my emotions were just it was just a complete like exhaustion of just like that tight grip that I had on howing it, trying to figure it out, trying to make it right, putting a lot of like effort into something that just wasn't changing. And so that complete just emotional and mental break, it was like completely necessary for me to be able to just release everything. And it was like a weight, and, my everything loosened up. And I feel like now it's like, okay, I'm more receptive, right? Like I have to be broken apart in order for for me to get to the point where it's like, oh God, it's, take it from here. I've got you, I'm going to trust this. I needed that to let go. And so that's where I was like, oh gosh, it's happening. It really is happening now.
Yes. That's amazing. Tierra?
I was just like listening to everyone and just kind of overwhelmed with emotion, because I thought about that question you asked earlier, like, what's the biggest manifestation? And I'm like, this group, this community. It is because I could have only ever imagined being in a group where, everyone takes abundance so seriously, and by someone who is not fluff, who also takes this very serious. And I'm like, this was probably the biggest manifestation that I've had, if I really think about it, is this community.
Yes. Yay. That's amazing. I always love hearing that, because that was my intention. This is what I always wanted, but I couldn't find. So I just went ahead and created it. So I love that. And I also love that you are right. We take abundance seriously. And so on that note, we are going to wrap up this episode, but make sure to come back next week and check out what else is awesome in these amazing ladies' lives.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to identify your current money story, go to identifyyourmoneystory.com.